Good evening, Edinboro, and welcome to your weekly political update. I'm Sarah Gillingham. In the wake of the tragic shooting that happened this past Thursday on the Umpqua Community College campus in Roseburg, Oregon, gun control was once again at the forefront of the national political conversation. Democratic frontrunners including Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are calling for stricter reform gun laws.
Disgusted, he is angry, he is sick and tired, as we all are, of sending our condolences to the families of people who have been murdered in cold blood. And the president is right. Condolences are not enough. We've got to do something. We have to stop shouting at each other. We need sensible gun control legislation. And by the way, we need to significantly improve mental health services in the United States of America. And I'm pledged to do everything that I can.
President Barack Obama also called for gun reform in a press conference following the tragic shooting in Oregon and said that the U.S. has become numb to tragedies such as mass shootings. Hillary Clinton maintains her lead amongst Democratic presidential nominees, but Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden continue to gain ground in the race for the White House. A recent USA Today Suffolk University poll shows that Secretary Clinton has the support of the majority of Democratic voters, even though Clinton suffered a double-digit drop the past few months. She currently has the backing of 41% of likely Democratic primary voters, while Sanders has 23% and Vice President Joe Biden trails with 20%. CNN reports that Vice President Biden will likely sit out the first of the Democratic presidential debates, taking place on October 13th in Las Vegas. Biden has yet to officially announce his candidacy for the upcoming 2016 election, but is expected to make a decision in the second half of this month. Ohio Republican John Boehner announced Friday, September 25th, that he will resign as Speaker of the House at the end of this month.
Speaker is to protect the institution. A lot of you know that, that my plan was to step down at the end of last year. I decided in November of 2010 that when I was elected Speaker that serving 2 terms would have been plenty. And but in June of last year, when it became clear that the majority leader lost his election, I frankly didn't believe it was right for me to leave at the end of last year. So my goal was to leave at the end of this year. So I planned, actually on my birthday, November 17th, to announce that I was leaving at the end of the year. But it's become clear to me that this prolonged leadership turmoil would do irreparable harm to the institution. So this morning I informed my colleagues that I would resign from the speakership and resign from Congress at the end of October. Now, as you've often heard me say, this isn't about me. It's about the people. It's about the institution. Just yesterday, we witnessed the awesome sight of Pope Francis addressing the greatest legislative body in the world. And I hope that we will all heed his call to live by the golden rule. But last night I started to think about this, and this morning I woke up and I said my prayers, as I always do, and I decided, today's the day I'm going to do this.
The New York Times reports that Boehner will become the first speaker to step down as speaker since Tip O'Neill, who resigned in 1986. Boehner served as Speaker of the House since 2011. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker announcing Monday, September 21st, that he is dropping out of the 2016 presidential race. The Huffington Post reports that Walker faced fundraising concerns and sinking poll numbers, which led to the suspension of his campaign.
I was sitting in church yesterday. The pastor's words reminded me that the Bible is full of stories about people who were called to be leaders in unusual ways. Today, I believe that I'm being called to lead by helping to clear the field in this race so that a positive, conservative message can rise to the top of the field. With this in mind, I will suspend my campaign immediately. I encourage other Republican presidential candidates to consider doing the same so that the voters can focus on a limited number of candidates who can offer a positive, conservative alternative to the current frontrunner. This is fundamentally important to the future of the party and, more importantly, to the future of
Governor Walker is the second Republican candidate to drop out of the 2016 presidential race, making his exit only 10 days after former Texas Governor Rick Perry dropped out. In an historic event, Pope Francis came to the United States last week. The Pope addressed a joint session of Congress, urging lawmakers and elected officials to come together for the common good. While addressing Congress, the Holy Father spoke on issues important to both parties, including environmental regulation, a passionate defense of immigration, the traditional family, and the sanctity of human life. Pope Francis is the first pope to ever address a joint session of Congress, generating tremendous interest among people from every walk of life. And finally, tonight we have the latest poll numbers for the top 5 candidates of each party via RealClearPolitics.com. According to the Investors Business Daily TIPP poll released on Saturday, October 3rd, Dr. Ben Carson is currently leading the Republican presidential nominees with 24 percentage points, followed by Donald Trump in second place with 17 points. Florida Senator Marco Rubio is currently in third place with 11 points. Former business executive Carly Fiorina comes in fourth with 9 points. And rounding out this week's poll results on the Republican side, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush comes in fifth place with 8 points. Switching gears to the Democratic nominees, according to a USA Today Suffolk University poll released Thursday, October 1st, Secretary Hillary Clinton is currently leading the Democratic presidential nominees with 41 percentage points, followed by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders with 23 points. Despite not officially announcing his candidacy, Vice President Joe Biden is currently in third place with 20 points. Former Governor of Rhode Island Lincoln Chafee comes in fourth with 1 point. And rounding out this week's poll results on the Democratic side, former Virginia Senator Jim Webb and former Governor of Maryland Martin O'Malley are tied with 0 points. That's all the political news we have for you tonight, covering the right and the left, down the middle. This is Sarah Gillingham. I hope you all have a wonderful night.